Hey guys, today in writing we are learning something new that is really special. So you are going to become a new type of author starting today. You're not just going to write one page on a topic anymore. Now you're going to write lots of different pages about the same topic. So remember, your topic is what your writing is mostly about. So if I was going to write about penguins, there are lots of different things I know about penguins. Like, I know they like to eat fish, I know they live where it's cold, and I know that they're black and white, so it looks like, they always say it looks like they're wearing a tuxedo. So I know lots of things about penguins. I could write a whole book about penguins because I can name different things that I already know about them. So I want to show you how that looks in a book, like a real book that we've read before. So if you're writing about the same topic, every page will be about that topic. It's going to teach something new about that same topic. So this book is about apples. So every page in this book is about what? Apples. So let's look. Here's a page teaching about how apples grow in apple orchards. And here is a page about like when they're ready to be picked, when they're ripe. Here is when they get sold so people can buy them and where you can buy them. And here's different things you can make out of apples. Do you see how every page in this book is about apples? Well, that's what we're going to practice doing. We're going to pick something that we know about and that we could teach about, and we're going to put it into a book. We're going to turn that into a book. So it's important that you stay on the same topic for the whole book, because if I was writing about apples on one page and then about a big green scary monster on the next page, would that make sense? No, that wouldn't make sense. So we're gonna work really hard to choose a topic and to stay on that topic for every page in our book. So now we're ready to start our own books. Now, I remember that when we first started this lesson, I told you that I know a lot about penguins. So I think that my topic should be penguins because I know a lot about them and I really like writing about penguins because I think they're so cute. So I actually got a start on this already. I thought of a title for my book. So remember, this book was about apples and the title is Apples. So what do you think would be a good title for our book about penguins? I'm thinking penguins would be a good topic or a good name for our book. So I already did that actually. Do you see how I wrote penguins up here? And then I drew a picture on the front cover of penguins. And I made sure to really think about what I know about penguins to make a nice, neat cover, because this is the first thing that a reader is going to see of my book. So I want it to look really nice. So I drew two penguins here. And then I drew some snow since I know they live where it's cold. And do you see I drew lots of snowflakes and then I labeled one of them snow. And then I labeled penguin. And then they're standing, I know that they live where it's really cold, so they're standing on ice. And so I wrote the word ice. And then I also know that sometimes penguins like to dive in the water to catch their fish. So I drew a little bit of wavy water and I wrote the word water. And then it says, by Mrs. Polanin. So our front cover is really an important part of our book because that is what the reader will see first, and it lets the reader know what their whole book will be about. So I already did that cover. Now let's talk about how authors take time to plan how their pages will go. They don't just write one page and say they want to add another. Instead, from the start, they know what they're going to put on each page. So let's think about penguins. As I think about what I know about penguins and what I want to write on each page, I'm going to make sure I touch that page because that will help my brain remember. So I know that penguins live where it's cold. That's where I want to put on my first page. I'll write about how they live where it's cold. And then on the next page, I think I'll write about how they like to eat fish because I know that's something penguins like to dive in the water and get. And then on the last page, I'm going to talk about what penguins look like. They're black and white, so it looks like they're wearing a fancy tuxedo. So that's what I'll put on the last page. Do you see how I planned each page before I wrote it? That's what makes a really good book. So let's get started on our book. Now, I made a giant book that I thought we could work on together. Do you see how giant that book is? So here's the first page of our giant book we're gonna make together. Now remember, the steps of writing are think, draw, label, write. And do you remember what I said I thought I wanna write about on the first page? Penguins live where it is cold. So think, that's what I'm gonna write. Penguins live where it is cold. Draw, so now I need to draw a picture of my penguin. So I'm gonna use shapes to draw my penguin. Now remember, he's not floating in space. So I'll make sure he goes all the way to the bottom. And then he's got wings like this. And then he's got his white part. And his eyes. And then his nose is like a triangle with his little smile in his beak. And then he's got some feet. Now, how could I show that it's cold where he lives? How do you think I could show that it's cold? I think I should make sure to include lots of snow and ice. And I'll make sure to include those in my labels too as I draw. Now, I know that we're working a lot harder now that we're drawing 3 different pages and we're writing on 3 different pages, but it's really important that we still do our neatest work and we still remember everything we've already learned about 4-star sentences. Now, if I had more time, I'd go back and I'd color my penguin black, but I want to get working on the writing. So let's make sure we include the snow to show that it's really cold. They love when it's cold. And then I'm even gonna draw lots and lots of snow on the ground. There we go. So now think, draw, label. Let's think of some important labels to include. Well, I know my penguin is really important. Ing. And then that what, it sounds like a W, but it's U-I. Penguin. There we go. And then what would another important label be if I'm writing about how it's cold? Probably the snow and the snowflakes. So I'm gonna label snow, S-N-O. And then I'll label the snowflakes too. S-N-O, F-O-A-K. And there's an E on the end since that A says its name, A, snowflake. Perfect. Well, now we're ready for our sentence. Penguins live where it is cold. Let's clap the words of that sentence. Penguins live where it is cold. Do you remember how we start each sentence? With a capital. So I'm going to start, and I already wrote the word penguin, so I'm just going to copy that. P-E-N-G-U-I-N. Now that says penguin. We want it to say penguins. What do I need on the end? An S. Good. Penguins, finger space, live. Oh, iv. And there's a tricky E on the end. Penguins live where? Where? Finger space, it. Finger space, is cold. K-O-L-D. Penguins live where it is cold. What goes at the end of our sentence to show we're all done? Period. Now, I'm actually going to write a second sentence because when I was watching you guys last week, or at least my friends, a lot of you are ready to start working for 2 sentences. If you are ready for that, that is awesome. Go for it. Try to write 2 sentences. If you're not ready to write 2 sentences yet, that's okay too. You could stop after 1 sentence. So you think about what you are ready for, and that's how many sentences you should write. Either way, that is just perfect. But I'm ready to write a second sentence. So I said penguins live where it is cold. What else could I say about how they live where it's cold? They like the snow because snow is cold, right? And I know they like the snow because I read all about how they like the cold snow under their feet and they like to play in the fluffy snow. So let's write, they like the snow. So it's a new sentence. Do you see how I have a period? So I have to make sure that my next letter is a capital letter because it's the first letter of my next sentence. They is spelled T-H-E-Y. They like, how do you spell like? L-I-K-E. They like the, how do you spell the? T-H-E. Awesome. They like the snow. And I have snow right here. I could just copy it. S-N-O-W. Now I'm all done with that sentence. So how do I show that I'm all done? I need an end mark or a punctuation mark, so a period. They like the snow. So good readers go back and they take the tip of their pencil and they read to make sure it makes sense. Penguins live where it is cold. They like the snow. Well, I'm looking at our sentence and I remembered a capital letter at the beginning of our first sentence, finger spaces between each word, and a period. And then let's look at our second sentence. We started with a capital letter, we ended with a period, and I see finger spaces between each word. Like is a sight word, L-I-K-E, check, we spelled it right. The is a sight word, T-H-E, we spelled it right. So that's the way you write across pages. We'll start on just choosing a topic, and then on each page, you're going to write something new about your topic. So now your job is to think of a topic that you would like to write about. I want you to find a grown-up, and I want you to tell them your topic, and then touch each page like I did to plan what you'll write on each page of the book. Your job today is to make the cover of your book, and then tomorrow you can start the words. I cannot wait to see the work of all of you authors. Have fun.